Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa li baytihi wa man ittaba'a sunnati ajma'in. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تبارك وتعالى الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله ثم لا يتبعون ما أنفقوا من منا ولا أذى لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون قول معروف ومغفرة خير من صدقة يتبعها أذى والله غني حليم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رياء الناس ولا يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه تراب فأصابها وابل فتركه صلدا لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم ابتغاء مرضات الله وتثبية من أنفسهم كمثل جنة بربوة أصابها وابل فأتت أكلها ضعفين فإن لم يصبها وابل فطل والله بما تعملون بصير صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم والعاقبة للمتقين ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla sha'nahu have given us this Jumatul Mubarak in the blessed month of Sha'ban. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us in our efforts in our deen and give us and our loved ones who have passed away or deceased loved ones and those who are coming generation to be born and those who are living. May Allah accept all of us and save us from all the baliyat and all the hardship and give us all the hasanat in the dunya and the hereafter. Ameen. I recited the ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 62. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning about those الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ أَنبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم. Ayat number 261, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the attributes of the people who are the one who invest in the path of Allah, are those, it is like a seed and that have 7 ears to it, and that from each ear come out 100 seeds of it. And Allah increase that wealth, and Allah has all the wusa and has the knowledge. To comprehend this further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that the attribute of those who spend in the path of Allah and then they do not give a manna after that, like doing a favor upon anybody. الَّذِينَ يُتْبِعُونَ مَا أَنفَقُوا مَنًّا وَلَا عَذَى. They do not follow up with the gift with reminding of that generosity of theirs or injury to the one who received it. لَهُمْ أَجْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. These are the people for whom the rewards is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will not have any grief on the day of judgment. And then further described that those people who do charity or good work or spend in the path of Allah and then boast about it or remind the person they did good to that we have done a favor upon you. If they do not do that, or if they do that, Allah is saying it's better for you to say a kind word than giving a charity followed by an insult. It's a very important aspect in our lives as a human attribute. Whenever we do good, we want to be recognized. And this is one thing which we should try to build in our character, even though we speak about it. I've spoken about this ayah almost every year, multiple times. It does not change the person's nature, and we do feel like, even though we do not say, we do feel like if I did something good, I should be recognized. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying a kind word is better than, and forgiving somebody is better than a charity followed by insult. So forgiving is also an attribute which we need to build, because forgiveness is not human nature. We always want to get even with everybody who ever done wrong to us. Wallahu ghaniyun halim. and Allah is all wealthy and has above the need of forbearing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tubtilu sadaqatikum bil manni wal aza. O you who believe, do not revert or return or make it wasted your charity by reminding or injuring or giving hardship to the person you did good to. كَالَّذِي يُنْفِقُ مَالُهُ رِيَاءَ النَّاسِ. And the one who spends his wealth not for the sake of Allah but for the show off to the mankind. وَلَا يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. And does not believe in Allah or the day of judgment. His simile, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ صَفْوَانٍ عَلَيْهِ تُرَابٌ فَصَعَبَهُ وَابِلٌ فَتَرَكَهُ صَلْدًا. His example is like that, like a smooth rock, and on which there is some dust. And when the rain falls on the rock, it just washes it off, and it leaves bare and empty. In other words, people are like rock. They are not soft, and hard things do not produce anything. If we have a rock, we cannot plant a seed, we cannot have a fertilize it, we cannot have something grow out of it. Illa mashallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving an simile of a person who is spent in the path of Allah, or at least thinks or want to show off that he is a generous, kind person who is doing good for the mankind, yet he's asking for favor and humiliating people he is done good. Often we see people in the political scene in the world, and especially at least in our countries, and actually we saw President of the United States when he was handing out people of Puerto Rico, when they had the big flood, and he was handing them out the bags, showing off as if they are needy, and so as people take photo ops. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like this. And he's giving examples such as a rock which has a dust on it. When the rain falls, it just washes the dust, look like a mistake of softness. Actually, it is inside as hard rock. لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا. They don't have power upon it, whatever they have earned. والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين. Indeed, Allah does not guide the people who are deniers. So it's kind of a very harsh word, which is very big and encompassing, and a lot of details could be spoken about it. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the other person or attribute of people who are not show off, who are not doing it for getting name, fame and glory, but the other side of a person. وَمَثْلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَتَثْبِيَةً مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. So those who spend in the path of Allah their wealth to seek the rada, the pleasure and agreement of Allah, and for making soft or tasbiyatan, for assurance for themselves. Their simile is like a garden. كَمَثَلِ جَنَّةٍ بِرَّبَةٍ صَابَهَا وَابِلٌ فَأَتَتْ أُكْلَهَا دَافِعًا. So then their example is like the people of a garden where when the rain comes, it doubles the product of the fruits and the crops. فَإِنْ لَمْ يُصِبْهَا وَابِلٌ فَطَلٌ. But if it is even light rain comes, it still have them grow the crops and the field and the fruit, the plant. So in this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving an example of an earth. If you could see, there are two types of earth. One is very hard rock earth, and one is soft, which is a plantation earth. And this is the ground where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Muslim, a believer, a righteous person who seeks the pleasure of Allah is like a ground where you can plant things. And even if the rain falls with the cloud coming, it will double the crop. And if it yield double, and if it doesn't have just as a mild rain, it gives fruit out of it. Wallahu bima ta'maluna basir. Indeed, Allah is watching whatever you do. With this reference, now in the month of Sha'ban, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us as a month of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And according to the ulama, the scholars, Sahaba Kiram Radwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in would give their zakat and sadaqat in this month for the people who are needy in the month of Ramadan. So first thing is to find and prepare and plan how much we owe in our zakat, and almost everybody who ever have a sahib and nisab should pay the zakat. And then there are categories of the people who receive zakat not defined by prophets or any other person, by Allah Himself. And Surah At-Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described 8 categories of people who are deserving. And according to the priority, it is numbered. There are 8 categories of people who will get the sadaqah. And definition of sadaqah has to be understood. Sadaqah is a action, wealth, physical, other forms of a personal devotion or doing of acting, of act which will bring a person close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sadaqah is something which brings us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I want to come close to Allah, I should give a sadaqah. And there's nothing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly received from the giver before the one who is given, except sadaqah. So if I give sadaqah to somebody, before it transfer my hand to this person's hand, Allah's hands, right hand, Allah takes it from. So before we give, we should have a first understanding that this is giving to Allah, not to the person. According to the understanding from the hadith collection, the scholars have determined, if we by mistake give sadaqah to a wrong person who was not supposed to be the righteous person we want to give, is still the reward will be given because it is given for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So not that we should intentionally give it to the undeserving person, but if we did a mistake, it will be, reward will be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there are, sadaqah is also divided into a zakat, which is fard or we call wajib, which is zakat. And then there is a sadaqah mustahib or nafil. Means besides zakat, what we give, or zakat al-fitr, other than few, everything else is nafil sadaqah, means it is not included in that. And we as a person must make sure that we pay our zakat. If we do not pay our zakat, our wealth is not purified. And when we give a wealth or anything, even our smile is a sadaqah, a kind word is a sadaqah, helping somebody with any little thing is a sadaqah. If we already have determined ourselves that I'm going to do everything as a sadaqah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because sadaqah does not go to anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sadaqah is a broad umbrella term in which there are subdivisions, which is zakat, which is obligatory, zakatul fitr, zakatul mal, and we also give khums, which goes to the Prophet and his Allah and Prophet. So these are different categories, but rest of it is nafil sadaqah or mustahib sadaqah, which we can do anything. According to some of the reference, every morning we should give some sadaqah, and every night we should give some sadaqah, which is whatever amount which is, as a material wealth, or as a dua or sadaqah, as a smile or kindness. We should actively think of doing something positive, energy or work for as a sadaqah, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, for the rada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَقْبَلُ التَّوْبَةَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِهِ وَيَأْخُذُ الصَّدَقَاتِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 104, do you not know, and beware, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا, do you not know, إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ يَقْبَلُ التَّوْبَةَ, it is Allah who accepts the tawbah, an ibadi, from his slaves, from his devotees, وَيَأْخُذُ الصَّدَقَاتِ, and he takes sadaqat from them. So sadaqat has an umbrella term in which we have a fard, or which is a wajibat, which is zakat al-fitr, and the other sadaqat which are due otherwise. So if we see we are building masjid, we are taking care of some poor and needy person in our community or whatnot, we should be very actively thinking we are doing it as for nothing but pleasure of Allah. And the one which we do, sadaqah, charity begins from home. If we treat our spouses, if we spend wealth on our children and our spouses, that is a sadaqah for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We often think we are doing a favor when we are raising children. Actually, it is a sadaqah if we do it for the love of Allah. Every moment we spend with our spouse, even putting food in the mouth of our spouse, especially men to feed their women, it is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is a sadaqah. Having our children treated with kindness, providing them knowledge, raising the daughter, marrying them off, giving them etiquettes and manners, teaching them to be good person. Ilm al-iktisabi or ilm al-dini, the knowledge of earning halal income, and the Quranic knowledge and the Islamic knowledge and practice what we do is all counted as sadaqah. Children who say parents didn't do anything, actually they can never match the parents' care. They brought them in the world, they took care of them where they was not able to do anything. And we all know what our parents did to us and what we are doing and loving our children to. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Allah himself in person takes the sadaqah from the right hand. So if we are giving somebody a charity, we should not think we are doing a favor. And the one which we do, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. It's something very important to understand, that those who spend the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in secret or loudly, or in the night, in the daytime. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had 4 dinar and dirham and he spent this way. This ayah was revealed in his honor. Where we spend publicly and where we should spend quietly. If we have to take care of our brothers, sisters, our family, our cousins, our friends, our relatives, Sila Rahmi is most important part of Islam. If we did everything and we did not take care of our family, we gave hundreds and thousands of dollars to build the masjid, yet we did not take care of our personal brothers, my little brother, my elder brother, my cousin brother, my family, my relatives, my parents, all this is less than that, what we can take care of now. Islam teaches to take care of your own before you take care of the others. And when it is done, this is why the Sharia says when the zakat mal comes in, the community should be served first, local, and then to the outside people to be given. When Muslims went to Iraq and Sham, and when they conquered that area, and Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah radiallahu ta'ala anhu in the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he said there are zakat, there's too much of the wealth, what should we do? People want to give zakat on their wealth. He said, don't take zakat from them, spend it in their own people. And people wanted to give zakat on their things which are not obligatory. And he says, zakat is only what is mentioned in the Quran, and for those with the category, with the very specific place of everybody. Inshallah, in coming Jummahs, I will talk if Allah gave me the ability to elaborate. In Surah Tawbah, ayah number 60, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقْرَى. The first category is the faqir. وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. The second one is the miskin, who means destitute, who is little more than the faqir level. وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. The third one is the one who are managing the zakat funds. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبِهِمْ. The fourth category is for those to soften the heart of those Muslims who have come into Islam, or those who are non-Muslim who are in a power position, to be soft and kind and taking care of the Muslim. وَفِي الرِّقَابِ. And those who are slave and in the bondage or in the prisons, or those who need to be paying the dues to get rid of their punishment. وَالْغَارِمِينَ. And those who have owned the debt. Two Muslim brother own debt, so pay from one side to the other so that this person will be relieved of his debt because he could not pay his debt. وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And in the path of Allah, which is all the things from dawn to dusk, everything which we do for Islam is a fi sabilillah. Especially the zakat money was given to mujahideen when they leave their job and they go to fight for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But not just that, when there are NGOs who are working and taking care of people to manage their affairs, that is to be done also within this money, which should be specified. Some organizations take more, like 40%, because they are hardship to go to different places. I try to find out, and I came to learn that these people are really putting their lives in lines to go into certain areas where not everybody wants to go. So they put this thing, وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, which is a person who is a wayfarer, is a traveler. He or she could be a millionaire and billionaire, but at times they got stuck into the financial hardship during the journey. These people should be helped, and they don't have to pay back that. The zakat money to take them to their home, not to start doing another business. 4 are free to use their wealth, 4 are required to be spent what they took for. The first 4 which are mentioned in this ayah are the once they become owner of the wealth, then this has become their money. It's no more zakat money. It becomes their own wealth, their possession. This is the Sharia says, when you give zakat, make person owner. In other words, if I'm paying zakat for this person, I cannot say I'm paying on your behalf to this person. I have to give him the money and he's the owner. Then it is no more zakat. It becomes a money of anything you want to do. That person may take it, spend it, eat it, throw it, give sadaqah another person. This is fuqara wal masakin wal amilin alayya wal mu'allafat al qulub. 4 people are the one who are free to do whatever they want to do with the zakat money, because it's no more zakat, it becomes their personal wealth and property. The 4 people who are required to do what they took it for. If a person who is in slavery or has been imprisoned, and firqab wal gharimin, the person who owe money, I owe money to you. So if you give me money to pay off the brother's debt, then I cannot take this money and do another investment, and then when money will come and I'll give that. That cannot be done. I have to give this money to clear the debts off, so I will, and he will be straight. If a slave is in its bondage and its slavery, and that person cannot be relieved, so he would say, give me money so I could get free from my slavery, and you give the money and he buy a television and he buy a car and he still remains slave. That's not okay. That person has to spend it, that particular cause, to get himself. The third one, fi sabilillah. When it is given for fi sabilillah, that money cannot be used for any other cause other than the fi sabilillah. I cannot take it home because you gave money for me to manage it and do it whatever I wanted. It has to be, if I took it for masjid, spend it in masjid. If I took it for institution, spend it in institution. If I took it to take care of orphan and poor and needy and destitute, I have to spend in that particular department. I will not take money from you and put it in the investment bond, and then the money will come from there, and then I will pay these people now. That has to go to those. This is ulama's description. Because then if you say, if I'm giving and saying, do whatever you want to do with this to the amilin, then they can apply wherever they want. But when I say this person I'm giving for, that person has to use it for that particular cause. Well, the person who is wayfarer, a businessman traveling, and for some happened bad to this person, lost the wealth, got robbed or stolen or cheated, then he can take money to return back to home. He cannot take money and start doing another travel journey. He has to go home to get himself saved and secured and then come into it. So, faridatun min Allah wallahu alimun hakim. This is a fard and obligatory duty for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah is all aware and all knowing. With this, I will stop here. Why I mention this is because this is the month of Sha'ban. Sahaba Ikram radhiyallahu ta'ala alayhim ajmain used to pay their zakat and sadqat and hasanat and khairat and make up with their brothers before the Ramadan begins. So anybody who have any negative feeling, hardship, just openly come one-on-one, talk to the brother, ask for relief, ask for forgiveness, let go, be gone. If you owe it, don't just text the money, oh sorry, I owe you money and I'm not going to pay back. Sorry for that. It's not going to work like that. In Islam, it's a very practical religion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability and strength and give us the ability to perform the Ramadan. And remember, parents are more important than anybody in the world. After Allah, for a Muslim today, when Rasulullah was alive in person, he was person being. After him, still he is the most important after Allah. But in the physical life, parents are the most important people we need to attend and care for. I have seen people who take to their sheikh, they take a bay'ah on somebody's health, peer and all that, murshid, they're giving them a lot of things. Here the parents are not even getting a kind word and visit from those children. All this wealth, ibadat and sadaqat, Allah will throw in the face. Allah will not need it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, तुम्हारी इबादत है तुम्हारे मुंह पे देके मारूंगा, नमाज़ें तुम्हारे मुंह पे मार दूंगा. मुझे तुम्हारी किसी इबादत की ज़रूरत नहीं है. I don't need any of the worship from you. Unless you obey your parents and love them and make them happy according to their like, not according to my like. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Brother Sayyid Almas, brother has died, and make dua for him. Inshallah, we'll make dua for them. Our president, brother Javed Chaudhry, his mother passed away this day. This time of the year, he asked for the dua for maghfirah for her. And we have our beloved member, he is not here today, Adam Mursi. His daughter Alima is a young child. She had a fall and apparently she injured herself, and he asked especially last night, send a message, make dua for his little girl. And we make dua for every child and especially for her today, inshallah.